and welcome to the Royal Geek Podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rollison, also known as T-Roll, and tonight I am joined by my very good friends. First of all, we have just kidding, not Justin Sandoval.
Nope.
Loser, not here. I love how we just rag on him when he's not here.
Yep.
Justin's not with us, but we do have our boy, Anthony Amato, who we like to call Shamato. We also have Zach Markham, a.k.a. Apple Zax. It feels weird saying your real name first, then I usually go with the nickname first.
It is what it is, man.
Yeah, I think I'll do that next time again. And Beanie, the pod dog, is somewhere
Squeaking around.
somewhere in the vicinity. So she will probably find a squeaky toy, in which case I'll give her this bone to calm her down once again. So, anyways, that's the behind the scenes for this week's episode, where we are reviewing Andor episode 5, which is called The Axe Forgets.
Yes.
Really good episode, lots to talk about. So we'll get there in a minute, but real quick, just a little bit of business. Please follow us on all of our social media accounts at Royal Geek Pod, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, MySpace, whatever. Go find us. And please leave a review or a comment on the video or the podcast, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching. All of those things help us out tremendously. So with that in mind, boys, are you guys ready to talk some Andor? Hold on. Markham, are you ready to talk some Andor? Because you missed last week, bro.
I did. I'm ready.
You did? Missed it. So, Beanie, go lay down. She's over there staring right at me. Gosh, she does not like when we record 3 podcasts in one night, boys.
Yep.
She gets antsy.
And I do too.
So let's get rolling. We do have a lot to get to tonight. Here's your spoiler warning for episode 5. Let's talk about it. What y'all think?
I thought overall it was a really good episode. The one thing it's a little bit odd. I didn't think that it was going to take this long to get to their mission. I was expecting maybe an episode to get from the time to the point, but they've drawn it out to where it's like an episode and a half so far, and they still haven't gotten to the mission. So we might not get to the mission. Might not be done for it may take a two full episodes to be able to even do that. So that's something that's been kind of surprising to me so far. But you know what? You can do that when you have 12 episodes.
Yes.
You can.
We're not even halfway done.
You can build tension. You can build relationships.
Yeah.
In between these groups. You can build all these interweaving things that are going along. But yeah, I felt like it was a really good episode. You got to see some really cool stuff. It was largely about building the dynamics inside the group. We saw some of that through the end of the last episode. But this was a lot of about them, the tension of really getting ready for this, the final moments, everything's being finally put into place, and you're seeing a lot of the setup for this heist that they're planning.
Yeah, for me, it's been a slow build, but I've enjoyed it because it has been building, like you said,
yes.
tension, relationships, and you got to see a lot of good characters intertwining, with Cassian and Arvel Skeen, just going back and forth and evaluating each other, and eventually getting to the point of their mission. Now that they're there, it seems like they've been building on this for a long time, even to the point where they construct their hideout or whatever exactly within the same diameters of this Imperial base. So they spent a lot of thought and a lot of time planning this, and now they're finally at the execution point.
Down to the point of training on how to march like a soldier, how to do everything like a soldier. The little things are being just worked out. It's this. It's it's literally you're seeing the montage of a heist movie going on. As you're seeing every single little detail being planned out and being worked on, and everything is being done to the T, which very much makes me think that it's gonna go just off the rails almost immediately.
Be great.
I think we all think that.
Flawless victory. Hey, so real quick, I'm going to say, first of all, another intense episode, and the stakes always just feel so high in Star Wars, and I think that's why I really enjoy the shows, and everything is so just not angsty, but it's just intense.
On edge.
On edge. That's good. Yeah. So However, a little pull back the curtain a little bit. I'm gonna let you guys talk about it for a few minutes because I have been summoned by the pod dog. She needs to go outside.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. All right. Well,
I'll be
we'll
back.
let you must obey your master. But yeah, like I mean, I really enjoyed like the setup and just like as they were going through. And one of my favorite parts was when the lieutenant was at the base.
Yeah.
And they're talking about all this stuff, and he's being really hard on his men about inspections and things like that. And then they're talking about something, and he's like, "No, we don't need anybody here. Nobody can, I don't want anybody to be here. I want them to be off in their own area." And then they come back and they're like, "Well, it would be really bad for morale for these people to not be here to watch this thing come in." And then he's like, "Well, I guess so." And I felt like it was a great moment of like, it was a great moment of espionage because he's almost incepting them.
Yeah.
Because that's what he wants. He
Correct.
wants the people to be there. But by doing it the way he did it, and if there was ever any callback, if anything were to go wrong with the mission, or let's say the mission goes perfectly, but the Empire's looking back into it later on, well, he'd be like, "Well, I mean, I didn't even want people there, so why are we even? You shouldn't be looking at me at all."
Yeah.
Like, so I felt like it was a great way of covering his own basis and, making it seem like it was these other underlings' idea to do the setup the way they're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's orchestrating it very, very well. And it almost seems like there's something more at play here.
Yeah.
So now, like in the previous episode or the early part of this episode, I can't remember, but the roles shift. So like Cassian put himself in that pilot role.
Yes.
So it seems like he's going to, him and maybe a couple other people are going to be able to get that freighter out of out of that base. But it also seems like they're orchestrating it where like some people are going to stay behind to destroy the dam or take out like as many Imperials as they can. So like he's wanting like all of his people like in one set location.
Yes. So what very much might be like, well, what if they destroy this dam, and by destroying the dam, it just washes through the entire,
Right.
and all of a sudden, instead of, risking, instead of them being able to take maybe 10, 15 Imperials, because of their ability and, to combat and stuff, like now you can take out maybe hundreds of Imperials because now you're being taken them out by, the water. So it might be multiple things for sure. But it's just really cool seeing how it's being set up. And I think also by him being so hard on his men, it also makes it, less likely that they're going to be like, well, he's obviously the traitor,
Right.
So like it's kind of set up to where it's like, you never think the person who's being really hard on people is going to be the one that's, that's going to be the traitor. You think of the person who's being lax, like potentially the good guy, well, he always let us go on, leave, and stuff like that. And, but no, this guy's like, no, I'm going to take away I'm going to, rethinking winter furloughs if you don't do what I want you to do.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really, he's playing the part really well on base, making him out to be the, really hard, 100% gung-ho in it for the Empire guy.
Yeah. I did enjoy like the first part of the episode where I forget his name, but you see the guy from that security unit. They end up he gets canned.
Yes.
Cyril?
Yes.
Cyril. Yeah. And they bring
Poor guy.
Yeah, dude. But they bring back the cool the blue what is it? Bantha milk.
Yeah.
That you see in New Hope. So it's cool seeing that.
Whatever cereal he was
Yeah,
eating.
dude. It wasn't Trix.
No.
Maybe like some Star Wars version of Captain
You
Crunch.
will see that on some store shelf soon.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Grogu bites or something like
Yes.
that. I don't know. So it was cool seeing that. And I think I'm really excited to see because it looks like the way they're going, there's going to be possibly some cameos from some of the characters in a Solo story.
Oh, yeah.
Going based off like the shelf that had all of the collections and stuff on it.
Yeah.
like the holocrons and stuff. That was owned by what was his
by
name?
Luthen?
Yeah, Luthen.
Yeah, Luthen.
You see those same holocrons used by Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
In a solo story, like she has
Well,
a Sith holocron.
I mean, if you think about it, maybe maybe they borrowed Amelia Clark for a day or two, for as they pull her away from Secret Invasion, we're like, you know what, you want to reprise your role real quick as, real quick and, be in a small part, and that's how we end up having, they end up having moving from there to being with Crimson Dawn or something like that. So I could see something like that playing out,
Yeah. So it really makes me curious to see who Luthen's in with. Is he is he in with Crimson Dawn, or is he in with some sort of secret Jedi, order, some surviving Jedi that he's trying to help and build this rebellion and everything. So
yep. Well, are we 100%? Does Andor fall before or after Solo?
After Solo.
After Solo, okay, that's what I thought. I thought it was after Solo.
Have to be, yeah.
So it'd be. I mean, it'd be interesting though. Maybe they sold it off or something like that, after the events of Solo, and it ended up being in Luthen's hands for some reason. Because I mean, it's really just how did it get there? Type of situation,
right?
So that'd be very interesting to see how that plays out. There's a lot of interesting just things that are kind of underhandedly happening throughout the story. I really I'm starting to, with the mission that is being built, I'm starting to kind of in my mind, I'm trying to make, how is he going to get from how he feels right now about the rebellion to where he is in...
Yeah, because he does not care.
Yeah, he does not care right now.
He's in it for the money.
Yeah, he's in for the money. What has to happen in this scene, in this time period for him to be, for the switch to kind of change for him to where he is willing to literally give up his life?
I'm guessing that he's going to be the only one to survive this heist.
I think
something like that.
Maybe not necessarily the only one, but I think he's going to see some major sacrifices.
Yeah.
Possibly even the guy who his brother was a farmer and
Steve?
had his who had his land stolen, and then his brother ended up committing suicide because of not being able to take care of his family, and it just ruining his life. I could see especially with the way they were so hard on him in this episode from that character's point of view, from Skeen, and he was the way he took his Kyber crystal from him, and was very like that. I could see it playing out to where there's a moment where they know that Andor needs to be the pilot now, and he's come to that realization, and maybe that character gives his life for Andor because he's not giving his life for Andor, really. He's giving his life for the rebellion. And maybe that's something that Andor understands, that idea that, yes, I know he's not giving his life for me, he's giving his life for the rebellion. So, maybe there's something more to this rebellion.
Yeah.
Seeing, someone who doesn't even really willing to give his life.
Does anybody like anybody in this group? I mean,
not really.
I'm not sensing there's any care with anyone.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
They're just all in it for one purpose.
And that's what I was saying, right before I left a little while ago. I was like, man, you just feel like the stakes are always so high.
Yeah.
With these Star Wars stories, and that's what I mean. Everything's gritty.
Yeah.
Everything is grim. Everything feels so desperate. These people have been living in the woods, planning this heist for how long? Months?
Yeah, I would assume it's got to be months.
Yeah.
And I think it's because everybody's on this, especially when you're on the rebellion side, you're on this razor's edge. And anytime you're in any type of resistance situation, you're on that razor's edge all the time because that there's just one tiny piece of information that ends up in the Empire's hands, and your life is forfeit.
Yeah.
Not just your life. Anyone potentially connected with you could be considered forfeit. So, if any of the links in the chain that they have are too weak, the whole thing breaks.
Yeah.
And then it has a rippling effect out to all the families and friends of these people. So they're all just so skeptical of everyone around them. So it's hard, like it's a more realistic idea than, a lot of movies. It's like, oh, you join the resistance. Now we're all family. Like that type of idea, where like you join this group and like, then you're instantly in it.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, it creates the very real situation that there are stakes that are outside of this group. It's not just about your life; it's about your family's life. It's about your friends' lives that could be very well affected if any of these people do not act to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and come through in the mission in the field.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been pretty enjoyable so far. I'm not sure what I missed when I went outside, so I might defer to you guys on where you want to go next.
I just want to point out that one scene with him and what was his name? Screet, the guy that they were evaluating each other.
Yes.
So it looks like apparently because he pointed out like his tattoos and stuff. So one of the tattoos referenced to Cratehead, which after doing like some investigation and everything, it looks like it was an Imperial camp or some sort.
Yeah, I assume that they were like prison tattoos, basically.
Yeah.
In that they both understood because the main reason I learned it from the context clues of Andor had been he was talking about like being in a juvenile facility and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For a little bit, and then him recognizing them and knowing them kind of pointed at the fact that they were like prison related in some way. So maybe, something along the lines that he's been in that type of situation, sort of like, Bill Burr's character from The Mandalorian had been, was in, prison at one point. Even Jyn Erso had been in prison at one point, so there's a lot of people that are based off of this, like, in this being under imperial, oppression at some form or level, whether it be something that they maybe deserved, maybe they were stealing or something like that, or maybe it was just because they were just not 100% in lockstep with the Empire, And, there's a lot of that out there, There's a lot of people that are just getting thrown in prison just because the Empire can do it,
Totally, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm also curious about that whole scene is like he also mentioned like by the hand, and then like they kind of left it as a mystery. Because they said,
what is that?
not much else is said. So, what my speculation is like with him being like on that Imperial base, if he had to serve the Empire in some sort of fashion, maybe doing like almost like covert operations or like dirty jobs or like stuff that's like behind the lines, for the Emperor. Because the only thing I could think is like by the hand, like all right, so whose hand? And then it's probably like could have been the Emperor's hand. So the Emperor could have had like some sort of like special like elite force of like prisoners or nobodies.
Yeah.
Like a Suicide Squad?
Yeah, it's like a Suicide Squad almost. And if he was a part of that, and if that's going to like bring more light, in, the next couple episodes or, the next season, who knows?
Interesting.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, he's obviously out of a very paranoid group of people. He's the most paranoid.
Yes.
So, I mean, that would make sense for why he would be, do that. Or maybe the big twist will be he's still
with
there.
The Empire? Ooh.
Yes. Like, he is so paranoid that, people don't think that there's any way that he could be, the traitor, So maybe he's literally still behind enemy lines,
Yeah.
Maybe so. There is some sort of speed bump coming.
Yes.
Like I don't know what it is, but it's going to be devastating.
Yes. It's going to be pretty insane to see what's
Nothing
in
happen. Star Wars movies and shows ever goes like according to plan.
No.
Yeah,
it never does. There's always something that needs to be gotten over. There's always, the first person misses with their first two shots,
Yeah.
How
about old girl that I don't even know her name, bro, but she's
Mothma?
No. That's the senator, right?
Yes.
No, the lady that's a part of the Security Council from a couple episodes ago who had the little scuffle with, talking about jurisdiction and all that.
Yes.
Whatever her name is, sorry, don't know it.
Lieutenant Deidre Miro? That might be it.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's it.
Yeah, Deidre, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And she's got her little assistant, and they're working overtime,
Yep.
And, they were like, all right, 2 more files each. And they're on to something. And I feel like they even said, all these different things that have happened they said they've been too random to be random.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I don't necessarily know how they're going to be able, or if they will, but let's just assume that they connect all the dots and assume that this next attack is coming soon. I don't know how that's possible in a galaxy of countless sectors and planets and whatnot, but I feel like there's clearly, that just feels so far removed from everything else that it's almost like they're alluding to the fact that they're going to
mess everything up for everyone else.
Yeah, they're going to identify that there's a risk on this planet, Aldani or whatever.
Yes.
I feel like they're gonna pinpoint it before it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they do. That is very likely to where that they're going is that they're literally tracking the rebellion without knowing that that's what they're doing. Like they know they're tracking something, but they don't really know what it is.
Yeah, because there is no official rebellion yet.
No.
Yeah.
So they're seeing all this stuff, and it's not really making sense, but that's kind of the point, is that it's not making sense. Yeah. So, that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it, worth looking into, is because it's, like she said, it's too... Or I don't know if it was her or her assistant, but it's too random to be random.
Or maybe the heist is going to be the final straw for them. Like maybe they won't call it out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Maybe that's probably a better call, that the heist is still going to happen. That security council is going to hear about it. She's going to hear about it, and she's going to be like, okay, now I see,
Yeah, like maybe that's like the final piece in the puzzle.
Yeah, because this is the first time that that really overconfident commander of that committee.
Yes.
Who's just again, don't know his name, sorry, but he to a T, like the Empire,
Yes.
right? I could see him now because their wallets are about to get hit hard.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yep.
They're taking a whole quarter's worth of pay for an entire sector. Isn't that what the
Yes.
heist is? Yeah, I don't know exactly how much that is, but it's got to be a lot of money.
It's got to be a lot.
A lot of credits.
Well, and it's not even really about the money. It's about the idea that their money can be gotten to, by someone. Like it's
in their mind by like savages on a planet. Like that's why they view these people.
And not some super organized group in their mind. Right. It's literally, I mean, it's kind of the idea of if you can make a god bleed, then you can make them mortal in your mind at the very least.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it is. It's showing that someone can stand up to the Empire, and that is worse than that is way worse than someone actually getting a defeat of the Empire. It is someone showing that the Empire isn't all-knowing, they aren't infallible.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, because I mean, right now, like they're not at war with anybody. Like right now, like they're very organized, but they're not having to deal with like this conflict, from an opposing
any
enemy.
sort of organized force. I mean, there's little things popping up here and there, but they're able to just throw numbers at it and squash out things. In their mind, there are criminal elements out there, and they're working and conniving, but there's nothing that's
there's no organized threat yet.
Yes, there's no organized, tangible threat that it shows any sort of weakness in the Empire's grasp.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. But I'm curious to see because I feel like once they finally once they get inside the base and everything, and we get down to like the heist. As far as like what's going to come to light, because I feel like there's going to be like some sort of like backstabbing in a way, because this whole episode it had a turn feel. I don't know if you guys ever seen like Turn, that with the between like the British and American and everything, but it was definitely like a very like backstabbing spy feel, where somebody is going to double cross somebody.
Yeah.
And like you said, it might be Cassian be the only one that makes it out.
It could be very much that. It could be something along the lines of maybe because they're really they're all kind of in it on their own moments. Maybe someone there, maybe even Skirn is not actually a turncoat, but maybe he sees somebody there who was directly related to his brother's death. Yep. He recognizes somebody and he just cannot hold back. His rage, and he ends up throwing a wrench into everything by stepping out of line and going after him, because they've shown that he has a propensity to be violent. Yes, impulsive and violent.
Yeah.
So I mean, it could be something like that sets him off. It could be something. I don't know. It could be even something with Andor where he's set off in some sort of way. Maybe he sees out. It could be something crazy where like maybe he hears or sees something directly related to his sister. And he ends up kind of going off track in some way that he doesn't feel like is necessarily throwing off the mission, but because he does that, something else gets thrown off, and they're not able to complete something on time. It just has a cascading effect and causes issues down the line. So I could see something like that potentially even happening to where it's little things, not purposeful potentially treachery, but like I said, they've made a very big point of everyone's, although they technically have the same mission, everyone's kind of in it on their own thing, even though Andor's the only one getting paid, but they're all kind of there for their own reason,
Well, yeah. You think he's not the only one getting paid? They're literally stealing money.
Well,
right?
I don't think they're stealing money in this. It's for. I don't think they're stealing money for the purpose of them splitting it.
Well, fair, but they've got to be getting something, dude.
I mean, I think okay. So I meant by getting like they all have their own motives, is what I think it is.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
Like in a sense of technically, they're all, even though everyone other than Andor is there for the going to be
like
rebellion.
Skeen wants revenge. What's his name? Nemec, or is that his name? The young kid.
Yes, I think it's like Karis Nemec.
Yeah, he's there for the idea.
Yes, for
the morals.
Yes, which he has a target on his back in my mind. I feel like he's going to be. I don't think he's going to make it out of this mission.
Yeah, probably not.
He's too idealistic in my mind. Like I just feel like he's going to be that moment where he's going to end up in that moment where he's going to die in somebody's arms. Like I really feel like that's this kid's like purpose in life. Like almost like a moment with like Spider-Man, like when he in Endgame. Like I feel like he has that vibe going on to where he's going to be
a tragic death for a youngling.
like an innocent almost, like getting knocked off.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could totally see that. Well, I'm fired up, man. I'm ready to see how this heist happens. I love a good heist, and they are literally. I mean, I have never seen so much on-screen practice for a heist in like any show or movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, especially not in a show. Like it is very rare to see it in a show. It's usually just
they
like
2 episodes practicing, and we've seen like lots of it.
Yes. Yeah.
It's amazing.
I also think like the I feel like something's gonna happen with Mon Mothma's family. I feel like
we didn't even talk about that yet, and just like there's clearly some issues with the husband and the daughter.
Yes.
And like, do you think that they even know that she's a part of this rebellion?
I think the husband has an inkling of an idea of what is going on, or maybe not necessarily that specifically what's going on, but he has an idea that she is
up to
something. Like something is not completely above board with what she is doing.
Right.
Because I think that's why he's so like, kind of defensive when she's talking about the creation of a new charity and like where's this money going and stuff like that. I feel like maybe he doesn't necessarily think specifically that she's backing something like that, but he might be just thinking simply something as she's cheating or something like that.
Yeah.
Type of situation, or like maybe she's cheating with Luthen
with the driver,
or with the driver.
She doesn't remember any of the drivers' names.
Yes, like so. So I think there's just something there. I do want to kind of know a little bit like what's up with the daughter, like
Yeah, dude, that was weird.
I mean, yeah, I get that she's like a teenage girl, but it's like, wow, I don't know, maybe I could potentially see something where like the daughter has very like maybe she has very rebellion vibes in her, but she sees her parents as a part of the like the big Big Brother organization.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those situations where it's like she in her mind backs the rebellion, but her mother, who is literally backing the rebellion, but can't say that she's backing the rebellion type of situation. So she's literally calling her out for, I could see it being one of those type of things.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Where it's like her mother should be her hero in this situation, but because of the literal circumstances of what it is, her mother can't be her hero in her eyes.
Sure.
So I could see it be something like that.
I could see that.
Yeah, a lot of depths.
Yeah, man, lots. We only got a little scene of Luthen, right? He was like trying to listen to some back channel, kind of comms.
Some paranoia going on.
He's really nervous. Yeah. Did you guys sense that he was having second guesses about Andor?
I mean, I think he's just kind of nervous about the whole situation and what's happening.
He's anxious, man.
Because I mean, you pull somebody in, you never really know how they're going to react that first time out. He's seen his face. He knows. I mean, he obviously has something to protect in ways to the whole situation. He has a life to protect and maybe more people, and he knows that he's building something. But, who knows where it'll be. It could be the end of something or it could be the very beginning of something.
Yeah. What do you guys think is going to happen with Cyril? At the beginning, dude eating the cereal and they keep talking about his uncle. Was it Harlow?
Yeah.
Do we have any idea who that is? Is that like a significant name to you, Markham?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet. I think it's going to be something totally new.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do see him probably potentially switching sides to do good.
Like to join the rebellion?
Correct. So
really?
Yeah, so I'm kind of I'm getting there's like too much going on where he does enjoy organized structure, which I think what he was trying to get at with the Imperial and everything, but I think with him getting fired from whatever company that was, and then him probably potentially trying to join the Empire, he's going to see a lot of flaws where they're not going to want him in a sense.
Yep.
And it's going to kind of turn him away into him doing something he didn't think that he would have done, which would get involved in the rebellion or something like that.
Well, I think not so much he likes structure a lot, but I think he likes the idea of doing good.
Correct.
And I think he felt like he was doing good in this and working along the lines, but then he's seen the flaws of this system.
Yep.
And so I could see it potentially going that way. He kind of has almost like a Fulcrum kind of vibe to me.
Yeah.
In that situation where he could be someone who works from the inside to help out the rebellion, but stays inside in general, inside of it. So that could be a very interesting situation with him. I mean, obviously something's got to happen. Maybe he's going to throw a wrench into something, and be his own kind of maybe it'll be a situation where he's goes on his own
Anti-hero?
To try to catch, to catch Andor.
Okay.
And then in the moment, maybe he comes to that and he's the person who actually catches Andor, but then he has a choice to make. And he sees through all this stuff, do I want to turn him into the rebellion or do I want to help him escape? That type of situation.
Yeah.
So I could see that kind of playing out.
Yeah, interesting. Well, boys, any last words on this episode before we wrap it up?
No, I don't have anything else, man. I'm just, like you said, I'm waiting to get to this heist and see how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
I wonder who's going to die first because they're not all making it out, man.
No.
I'm calling it right now.
No.
It's probably the kid, right? That's what you said, Shimano.
I don't know if he'll die first, but
Okay.
I think he's
his
dead.
days are numbered.
Yes.
Shimano said. His hours are numbered.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Big thanks again for tuning in and listening. We really appreciate you. Just a reminder: hit the like button on the video if you are on YouTube. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. Subscribe if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple or somewhere else. Please leave a review, leave a comment, share the podcast. All these things help us out a lot. And please come back next week. We will be continuing to review Andor, and also next week is a big week for us because we'll have reviews on the finales of Rings of Power and She-Hulk. So a lot happening on the Royal Geek podcast.
Yep.
Justin should be back for that. Our fingers are crossed. So With all that in mind, for my good friends Shamato and Applezax, this is T-Roll saying thank you so much for listening to the Royal Geek Podcast. We will see you next time, you peasants.